So there is the differential. It's a really good one. It's good clean, very minimal wear in there from what I can see. I've took the crown ring off. I've got the stub axles, I believe that's what you call them. Jag wheels fit that. Brilliant, because I have a Jag rear end on that trike, so I've got wheels, I've got disc, brakes, the lot. I've got everything I need to convert that over to discs, handbrake as well. So I've already got half the stuff okay. The axle shell that you saw out there, I intend to use the tubes in order to mount those, and that will be rigged up. Before I move to the next bit, please note this area here. Right, there is a beautiful Victory Vegas. And yes, some of you are probably looking at this thinking, why? Well, the simple answer is I can't ride it, and it's been my dream, a lifetime dream since I was 17 to own an Indian. This is as close as I'm going to ever get to riding an Indian, bearing in mind Polaris have now got the rights to Indian. So I'm taking that off, the pulley. I'm going to take this down to an engineering shop I know. I believe this is Cast Alley. I'm going to get him to machine the centre out completely, and then we'll make up a solid aluminium disc centre that can bolt straight onto the stub out, the crown ring, and then we'll get that welded on if he can do it. This is subject to whether he can do it. So once that is on there, that's half my battle already won. So now I've got to decide, well, I ain't got to decide actually, it's down to the engineer really. What I'd like to do is to have that cut off, all the spokes gone. However, upon turning it over, I noticed there's an insert moulded into this. It's quite a chunky insert, but it's an insert, and it will fit over that. However, if it was to machine this down and then re-drill some new holes to bolt that directly over, I won't have anywhere for the bearing. And then I thought to myself after, I thought, okay, that could be an issue, but he could machine that back, make a second plate. Right, update. I cut the tank open. More curiosity than anything else. Doesn't really matter what I do. I'm going to be spending big bucks on another tank, or I temporarily weld some of it back together and have it as a dummy tank. But you can see how bad it is. It's horrendous. I mean, some of it's good, most of it is bad. Down there is really crispy. That's pretty bad, but I was right. It is thicker steel than your average Japanese junk, and I'm quite happy about that. But realistically, I don't think I can fix this. So here's my plan. I'll have a go. I will have a go. Right, it's welded. I might have just got away with it. So I've got to sand back, or wire brush back, and grind back there. Then I've got to weld the tabs back on, because I had to cut those off for the time being. I did drop it, slid off my flipping stool that I broke, and it hit the steps. So I've got a bit of filling to do there, and I've got a fair bit of grinding, and this is the messiest part. That was the hardest area, and unfortunately I have lost the shape a little bit. Okay, I've done the best I can with it, and we had a few little mishaps here and there. Drilled through that pipe, mucked it up, so I had to cut a new hole out, pull the pipe over a little bit more, managed to weld it all up, put a plate in there to hide the big hole that I had. I'm not going to do much with that area. Maybe a wire brush, but that's about as far as I go with it. So I hit it with a grinder, and then I hit it with a DA after. It could have gone better. I'm predicting pinprick holes everywhere there. I reckon that's all going to be leakage points, all of it. So there you go. I don't really look out of place to it, considering. I put some etch primer over the metal. The next thing to do is to tape up all the holes. That's got to be, I've got to put a blank in there. Might be a good idea actually, cut them down a little lower, stick some 6mm nuts on there and test that out properly. The welding didn't come out too bad. Quite pleased with that. All the way around. Clean process. No leaks. gobsmacked, because normally I end up with leaks, but nope, the only leaks I had was from where the tape wasn't sticking down properly around down there. Other than that, no leaks. Everything was fine. When I turned the tank over to see if I'd blown through those pipes, and I reassessed those, the water was sitting in there and nothing was coming out. It was only when I turned it upside down, because I got the gas cap covered in tape, water was getting through that and then coming back. So they work. Right, I'm just drying it out. Next process, derust. Can't see very much, it's a little dark up here, but it's a silver based paint. There you go, you got a little glimpse of what's going on. There's a fair bit loose in there, so what I've got to do now is patch this hole over and then patch that hole over, turn this thing over and then let it run all the way down into those locations there. At the moment they're sitting proud in the centre. So that is it. For the next 4 days this has got to sit steady. Now is tear the tape off the filler and leave it. I actually did find one leak when I was doing the derusting process. Managed to weld that up. This tank will be as good as new by the time I'm finished. So yeah, I'm pretty damn pleased with this. It's been a bit of a long haul because I've had to wait for materials and all the other things that come with this, but as soon as that sealer has gone hard, Tuesday onwards, we'll start thinking about putting the epoxy filler around all the areas I welded, just because that's a little harder than your average filler, and then I'll put some of the regular stuff on, sand all that paint back as far back to primer as I can get it, and then we'll put a red oxide on after I've done all the sanding and filling. And right, shut the radio down. Okay, so we've got the paint inside and it's gone hard. Now I might have misread that. It might have been 90 minutes or it might have been 90 hours. I'm pretty sure I saw 90 hours on that tag, but you know, it's been a hard week, long week, sorry, not a hard week, but a very long week with appointments and builders turning up from the council and all sorts, and I've just not been able to keep track of anything at the moment. A guy came around 24 hours to 7 days is how long that blast of stuff takes to dry. So we ain't doing any more of this today. So what I did is I just quickly added a little extra, because I know I've got to put it on there at a later date, and I thought I ain't sitting there for another 7 days or 24 hours or whatever it is. So I've done over that weld there, not to hide the weld but just to seal it, just in case, because there was a strengthening plate in there. And I've gone around those edges, I've gone around that one, I've done the same on the back, so I'm trying to get that curve back. I will put a sanding disc on a drill to do that one, to get that curve perfect again, because I lost the shape when I welded it a little bit. Once I've got this down, I will then put some regular filler on, which will dry a lot quicker, and we'll wire brush all the sticker foam off. We haven't quite got that centre hole. I need to come around here a bit more. There's too much, so I need to come around, and then so I need to take that bit out, but I think there's metal. I'm on my last leg of sanding and filling. The next process, red primer, and then the next process, filler primer. Plus side is I have got the primer on, but the primer went bad. Not an issue, because we've got to rub this down anyway to get all the blemishes out, and then we're going to put another coat on. I'm hoping there's enough filler in that tin, filler primer. I've got two more to do really. The next one will be just to get rid of any other issues. I've got one there that I didn't quite sand out. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, a little bit more sand in there, but the rest of this is not too bad. That is the second heaviest coat, and bits flew out of the tin. So the final one I'm putting on here is going to get filtered, and I'll sand that one back, and no doubt I will have areas where it's blown through. The last coat after this, if it comes out the way it has at the moment, will be a rattle can filler primer, which I shall just gently spray on and hit it with the finest of flour paper to try and get rid of any marks, blemishes, and then I shall leave it for a few days. It is old primer. I mean, we're going back 3 years with this stuff. Fresh hardener though. I had to buy that the other day. That was a tenner just for that on its own. I've filtered it. I didn't want to filter it because I didn't want to remove all the powdery bits that makes the primer a filler primer. However, it was a necessary. So in the meanwhile, we're getting a framework done here, and I'm just waiting for a very good friend of mine to get me some brake calipers, and then I can start converting the axle stubs to a disc system, and then I'm going to get the axle itself cut in half, get all the metal removed that I need removed, and I'm hoping very soon we will get the axle back. That's what I'm hoping for, and then we can start making up the swing arm. But at the moment I'm just concentrating on stuff that I will have to do at some point, which is all that front stuff, because I will end up doing it. So next thing to do when the welder come in is the crash bars, and that's about all I've got for you at the moment, because at the moment we ain't able to do very much due to the council sorting out our kitchen. I'm actually looking forward to that, getting that finished. We'll have a nice new kitchen for Christmas. Anyway, moving on.